Today, I'm going to be showing you 3 simple things that you can start doing right now that is going to make men more interested in you and putting in more effort while courting you. So the first thing that you can start incorporating right now is silence. So silence is very powerful. And this is why when we are silent, people must fill in those gaps of silence with their own assumptions, with their own thoughts. And so when you are silent, you give the other person space to start making an imagination about you, to start thinking about you. And this is why silence often speaks louder than words, because it's what we don't say that keeps people thinking, that keeps people lingering, okay? So when we are silent, we are actually better listeners and we're gaining a lot of information because the other person is revealing information to us and we are able to actually have authority. A lot of times, the most quiet person in the room is actually the smartest, is actually the one who has the most status because they don't need to say anything to prove themselves. They don't need to chime in or give their opinion because they've already become the most powerful person by sitting back and hearing everyone else talk. Keep in mind, when we are silent, we become more compelling. Mystery is compelling. Quiet people are compelling and interesting. So people are going to fill in the gaps with this idea of you. They're actually going to make you even more greater and even more amazing than you are because they must figure you out. Okay. And when we are silent, we are less reactive, which helps us to maintain composure. And it also prevents us from being impulsive. So when we are quiet, we are able to really take in what someone's saying. We're able to really absorb it and sit with it. And we hear the little nuances in everything they say. We pick up on things that we wouldn't have had we just been talking a lot and not really listening and tuning into what the other person is saying. Also, it gives us clarity. It allows us to remove the noise. When we are quiet, we get all the answers. I'm sure you guys have heard that. Just get some moments of silence and you will get all the answers you need. Well, let me tell you, when you practice the art of silence, you will find that men are chasing you. Men are drawn towards you. Men want to learn more about you. And it's because you're not giving them much. You're not giving them much words. You're not giving them much energy. So they are fighting much harder to get you to talk. Okay. Step number 2 is absence. Now, distance increases desire. This is why it is good to sometimes not be available. When a man asks you out on a date and perhaps he only gives you 1 day heads up, you can respond, "Oh, I would love to, but I'm busy." So this leaves the man like, "Oh no, she's busy. What is she doing? She's absent this weekend. Where has she been?" So let's say that you generally text this man throughout the day, but you have a busier day at work, so you don't get back to him till late at night. You can say something along the lines of, "Wow, I've had a hectic day. Hope yours wasn't too bad." So this allows the man to wonder about you, to think about you, to be like, I can't wait to hear about her hectic day. And let me tell you, when I was single, I used to use absence a lot. So there was this certain guy that I was dating. This was like over 10 years ago. And we had a mutual friend group. And I always did this technique where every so often the friend group would all get together and I knew he would be there and I would purposely not go. And this always created space for him to miss me. I remember almost every single time I missed the event, I would get a message from him like, "Oh, you weren't here tonight. How are you? Like, what's going on?" Or sometimes he would then start asking my friends like, "How's she doing? Oh yeah, what was she doing? Why couldn't she come?" So once again, absence creates desire. Absence makes the heart grow fonder. And I'm going to give you some more examples, okay? Because scarcity also creates demand. When you think about economy, When there is a certain shortage of an item, the item goes up in price. It becomes more valuable, and it's because there's less of it. So think of yourself like a commodity. Think about your energy, your presence as this scarce resource. So if you are always available every time a man wants to take you on a date, every time he calls you, every time he texts you, then he knows you're always going to be on the other side of the phone. You're always going to be available when he asks. But if you start creating every now and then scarcity, if you start creating absence, then now you are more valuable in a sense because you're not available all the time. You actually have a higher demand. We crave and desire the things we can't have. So I'm going to give you 3 examples of times in which you will find that you miss something more because it's not available. First one, you lose something. How many of us have lost something? Maybe it was something we didn't even use very much. Maybe it was something we really didn't care about. But the minute that we lose that thing, we are now like, oh my goodness, where is it? Where has it gone? Where did I put it? Where did I misplace it? And all of a sudden that thing that you lost, even if essentially you didn't care that much about it, because you can't find it, because it's not in your presence, all of a sudden it has an inflated value. So this is like a psychology trick 101, okay? Second example, right now there's some bird flu going on, which has led to an egg shortage. And once again, you see people fighting over a dozen of eggs. Remember when a few months ago, there were so many eggs and there would be so many eggs and people didn't really care about eggs. Well, now people are literally rushing to the store at the crack of dawn at 6 a.m. to get a dozen of eggs. Even if maybe a few months ago, they didn't eat eggs very often. They didn't really care for eggs. But now, because eggs are more scarce, they have become more in demand. They have become more valuable. So people are going to go to the ends of the earth to get eggs. They might drive to a grocery store that's further out. They might wake up earlier than usual. So they are going to do things out of the ordinary just to get their hands on some eggs. Last but not least is the example of moving away. So I found that when I moved out of state, all of a sudden, friends who hadn't even messaged me or called me in months now wanted to see me. In a way, I was like, whoa, I think it's because I'm no longer there. So it dawned on me that once again, it was the supply and demand. Because I'm no longer available to hang out, because I no longer live in the same town that I used to, now I am more in demand because I am not there. I'm not where I used to be. And so you will find that the more absent something is, the more demand there is. And so you can use this to your advantage when dating. This doesn't mean make up something that's fake and be unavailable. I mean actually live your life. And if that means that for a few hours you're absent from the text message conversation, or you go out of town and you're absent for that weekend, don't offer an excuse. Just simply say, oh, that sounds so nice, but I'm unavailable. Or I would love to, but I'm actually booked already. That is going to create more demand. And I'm telling you that this guy is going to be working overtime to ensure that the next time he plans something with you, you are available. Last but not least is number 3, and that is to slow down. This is a lesson that I really needed to learn because I actually have a really healthy relationship with my masculine energy. I love to do things. I love to take action. I would say that I have quite a few interests that kind of fall under the masculine realm. For example, I love the stock market. I love investing. I love education, which all of that tends to be more masculine. I also love video games, which you probably wouldn't have expected, but all of those things kind of fall into the masculine realm. So I found that when I was going on dates, there were times where it was hard for me to step out of the masculine and into the feminine. And one of the tips that I found really helpful, I actually got this from one of my mentors, one of my feminine coaches. She said, slow down. So anything that you are going to say or do, just do it more slowly. So if you're gonna go reach for your water, don't just grab your water. Slowly reach for your water. If you are going to, put your jacket on, don't just, throw it on. Go slowly put it on. If you are going to tell a story, you don't need to rush and just say it. You can take pauses. You can have a drink. And if the man says, oh, well, what happened next? I'll finish the story. 1 second. So all of this, once again, increases your value because you are taking things slow. And guess what? A relaxed woman is a feminine woman. A feminine, relaxed woman is a confident woman. She's not rushing to explain herself. She's not rushing to get things done. She is not late. She is on time. So she doesn't need to do things in a fast, exaggerated, erratic way. She's not finicky. She's very calm. She's very relaxed. So this is something that I'm still learning and I'm still optimizing, is to slow down, do things more slowly. You don't need to be in a rush all the time. I think I got this from my mom. She walks so fast. And my sister and I would always joke and make fun of her growing up. We'd be like, Mom, slow down. We can't even keep up with you. And actually, she's been on dates with men who complained about that. And they said, you know what? When you walk ahead of me, I don't like the feeling. I feel like we're not a team. We're not side by side. And so men want to feel that they can actually slow down and be in the moment with you, right? Men are in their masculine go, 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 go energy all the time. So get them out of that energy. Allow them to slow down. Help them to slow down. When you slow down, they are forced to slow down. Generally, when my husband and I are holding hands and I'm wearing heels and he's like rushing to the restaurant, I'll be like, babe, slow down. Like, I can't keep up with you. So he is forced to now slow down and go at my pace, right? So some tips that you can do when it comes to slowing down is to pause before responding. If he asks you a question, don't just rush to speak. Take your time. Formulate your thoughts. That is going to make your words more valuable. Next, hold the eye contact. Hold it just a little bit longer than usual. So if you're looking at him and you look at your cup or you look at your food and you look back up, you can hold the eye contact for just a few seconds longer to create a deeper connection. The next tip is, like I said, avoid really fast movements, okay? Be slow and intentional. Do not do anything that's frantic. Don't make any of these insecure gestures. I've also seen women who have to shake their legs or who, bite their fingernails. That's not going to be the type of energy you want to bring on a date, okay? So slow, composed, and calm. Speak slower, okay? Confident women don't rush. They let their words carry weight. They're always on time. And control your facial expressions, okay? So a slight smile, a relaxed gaze, this is all going to make you magnetic. So if you got this far into the video, then I want to tell you I have something super exciting. The first link down in the description will take you to my free Magnetic Profile Masterclass, where I walk you through the steps from A to Z, how to create an online dating profile that will literally have men flying from out of the country to meet you. So I'm super excited to have that to offer for you ladies. I hope that you will check it out, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye.